BattleBit. You heard of BattleBit? It's PC only game right now. It looks like Roblox, looks like Minecraft. 254 player first person shooter that apparently doesn't have any of the microtransactions, none of the season passes. It's a development team of modders. They've been working on this since 2018. It finally came into early access 2 weeks ago. It's already sold almost, by this point, over 2 million copies. They basically made the game that all of the fans have been asking for. The game they grew up with, the game they loved. It doesn't have any of the EA greed behind it. And surprise, surprise, it's doing really well. Do you think there's something here the console companies can learn from? You know, this reminds me of Valheim, which was made by 3 to 5 people, and it is absolutely killing it. And a lot of games do this on Steam. There was an article the other day about Banjo-Kazooie, the composer of Kazooie, who came out and said there's just not a big enough audience for it. Of course there's not a big enough audience for Banjo-Kazooie if you make it bleeding edge and spend all the fucking money. But to make a game like Banjo-Kazooie at this level, at this budget, it could allow a lot more things that people want, but they can't afford, and they can make a lot of money because it doesn't cost much to make. I wonder if there's something here that the console companies could really learn from. Consoles, at least at this point, are about graphics for most people, or for a lot of people. They don't want to buy an expensive console and get shit graphics like this. To them, they're shit graphics, not to me, but you know what I mean? I get that. But it was interesting to be following this story with the graphics that I'm looking at right now. Basically looks like Roblox. It's really interesting to be looking at this and then watch the reveal of Helldivers. So Helldivers 2 had a reveal. I'm going to show it to you. Here's this game, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have made this game. I have some things to say about this, good and bad, this trailer, but the money already spent on this game didn't need to be spent yet. Because what if it doesn't work? What if it's not fun? So why don't you fucking make Helldivers like this and just get people playing it? And if people fall in love with it, then start spending the fucking money. Why would you not do that? You're missing the point. Arathizzle says, because the look, the music, the presentation matters. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Did you hear what I said? I said if you buy a console, then there are going to be a lot of people who pay for the console that want really great graphics and presentation. I'm not arguing with that. What I'm saying is, though, if you start your game like this and you put the game out like this and it works, then you start spending the money. The game, if it's a fucking games as a service game, should be able to survive in the year and a half it takes to start polishing this fucking thing up. Ravnos, oh my God. You moron, shut up, you contrarian fuck. Helldivers was a very, very good isometric game that gained a large following. Jaffe seems confused by how success works. I'm saying that the idea that Sony is ready to pull the trigger on a game that looks like this before they know if it's actually working needs to be a philosophy of production and greenlighting that gets left as a relic of the past. So I'm not shitting on the game from a standpoint of there's enough in there that it could be great, but I'm just saying the reason I bring this up is two things. Number one, the trailer I think does a terrible job. It does an absolute terrible job of making people go. Because think about this, fellas. Somebody had to sit in front of whoever it was, Jim Ryan, Herman Holtz, Scott Rhodey, whatever, and pitch this and get a green light. And whoever else is on that committee these days, right? You can't tell me that this pitch got them excited enough to spend 40, 50, 60 million, whatever, 20 million on this? What is it? Right? And I'm not saying it's not going to be a good game or a great game. It may be one of my favorite games. I'm just saying that this is a shit trailer. The other thing, though, that I'm saying is, as it relates to BattleBit, is, again, I look at this and I say, maybe they do have a vision. I mean, seriously, if you were an executive, think about like an executive for a moment. I'm not asking you to think about you personally. Like, oh, what Mr. Rob wants, or what Jeeves wants, or what Awesome Tatum wants. I'm saying, if you're an executive, why would you not go this route with that game? Put it out, see if it's sticky, so you don't end up with the multiverses or a Knockout City or a Rumbleverse or whatever, or a Skyscaper, Scraper, whatever. I understand BattleBit is a clone, Profighter, but BattleBit's high concept is, we're going to give you guys what you loved back in the early 2000s, and we're going to do it for a price point that allows us not to put all the greedy shit that you hate, right? That's a high concept that I think is clearly proving out to be something commendable and successful. So I'm just saying, I think, honestly, the console makers really need to get on this bandwagon here and start knowing before they start spending gobs of money if they've actually got something. But hey, somebody, look, and again, I'm not taking the piss out of Helldivers. The only thing I'm taking the piss on is the trailer was shit. The write-up on the PlayStation blog was a lot better. I'm looking forward to trying it. I assume it's free to play. If it's not, I won't try it unless the reviews are amazing. But can you imagine this not being free to play? How could that even be a thing at this point? This has to be fucking free to play. Jaffe, how much work can 3 devs do, Capono? You're talking about, well, they did this much work. And I'm not saying you have to limit it to 3. If you're Sony, put 20 people on it. Crash Bandicoot game isn't free to play. It will be. I'm sure there's a lever they can flip, just like Disney Speed Force or Speedstorm, which is excellent, but I'm not paying like $30 for a Founders Pack. That's going free to play. Crash, again, I got shit on from people like that when I said this game's really fun, don't buy it. Because A, it's going to go free to play, which it is eventually, but more importantly, it's not very sticky. How much money they spent, I don't know, it wasn't like $200 million, but how much money and time they spent on Crash Team Rumble that they could have known if they just would have, I mean, it's like, how could they not have known that game wasn't sticky? I played it for like 3 rounds. Spaz returned it, and I played it for about 3 rounds, and I was like, okay, it's fun, it's really good, and now I'm moving on with my fucking life. Now, every game doesn't have to be for me, but that wasn't for me. It wasn't for Spaz. It literally is sitting at 30 players as of the recording of this show. Now, I know you can play it on another number of places, but if you go to Steam, there are 30 fucking people playing that fucking game. That's it. There's got to be a better way to do this. This just feels like spaghetti method all day long when it comes to these big budget free-to-play or service-based games, and it's going to get a lot of people in a lot of fucking trouble. All right, let's move on.